Lately, there's been a lot of talk going around about how to even approach Final Fantasy XIV. Specifically here though, I am talking about putting all other content to the side and really rushing and crunching down the main story questline to endgame. Which if you came here from my leveling guide, you know that my #1 recommendation is absolutely to follow the main story questline. That'll get one job up to 80, then you can level any alt with like armory, and then you could like pair it with like Memphinius earrings from like the Endwalker pre-order bonus. Like you do have a lot of different options when you hit that cap. Brings me to my opinion, and again this is just opinion and it's just one guy's opinion. If you don't want to take it, absolutely no harm, no foul, totally get you. Totally respect that, honestly. And my answer off the bat is unless you really do not enjoy any other content and do not have any interest in dipping into sidelines, relic lines, different trials we had so many dungeons in Heavensward or Stormblood, A Realm Reborn, that had nothing to do with the main story quest line. We had the different trials, we have so many different options of content, and if none of that appeals to you, okay, sweet, do that. Or hell, even like gold sauce or even housing, even crafting. What about going on ocean fishing? I know people who were ocean fishing way before I expected them to. You literally had like sprouts running around. Even in my own FC, one of my members, I don't know if they want to be named, but they literally had the sprout icon, but they literally had like the major general shark fish and then the special shark mount from ocean fishing before they lost the sprout icon. And no, I'm not exaggerating. I literally remember it because I was like, huh, I didn't expect to see that. But I would really encourage people, unless you really don't want to, take the time and just explore the world. Just have fun, because you know what? And this even goes for me on YouTube. It's just like, and guys, some people are just like, oh no, you're a shill, blah, blah, blah. Trust me, I'm not getting enough money to be a shill. Just like, the point of it is it's a game. If you're not having fun, something is wrong. And I think that a lot of people come into it with like this mentality, especially if you come from World of Warcraft of, oh, if I like fall behind the curve, the world is going to end, which is not the case in Final Fantasy XIV. There are people running content constantly. I mean, will you be world first? I mean, if you wanted to be world first raider, I'd hate to break it to you, but you're like, oh my god, is it 6 months, 8 months, something? You're many months late to that game. There's people still progging the fights though, I would not worry about that. I want to take a time and really flesh out the idea of, is endgame really that much better than the rest of the game? This comes to a very meta problem for me, especially as someone who is, I guess, making YouTube videos. I really kind of cringe at the idea of calling myself a content creator. I don't even know what that really means. But the problem is, you have all these players like me who have started in like 1.0 days. We saw the servers absolutely shut down. We had the servers come back in A Realm Reborn, and how we were like all determined to like support this game through this stage of huge uncertainty. And honestly, 1.0 was a nightmare. Nightmare fuel, period. But when I came back to 2.0, it was like there were so many improvements and so many good things, and it was like trying to like just help anyone who wanted to like try the game to get into the game. But the fact is, that is a lot of years, literal years, between that point in time and current day. And so when people are like, oh, no one's covering A Realm Reborn content, yes, you are right. In the greater meta of things, no creator really is, because most of us have already experienced that literally like, what are we going on, like 8 years ago? It's been so long since A Realm Reborn came out. So it's just like, while I could find it really fun to do like minimum item level Ramuh, I just don't do it right now just because it's a solved problem to me. And I mean, I could do that and have fun because it has literally been years since I last seriously took that fight serious. But yeah, there is definitely a like level of glamorization of old content, but new content. There's a level of glamorization of the new content, but the old content definitely stands on its own 2 feet. Like Leviathan Extreme way back in the day was definitely a challenging fight. Still crushing with some of the wipes, but I digress. But talking about endgame, yes, you can start to farm out endgame raids for best in slot gear to go into Endwalker to level faster. Because ultimately at this point, that's kind of the point of that gear. The raids are basically a solved problem right now already. And yes, endgame is where you can start to farm some of the newest of the new relic weapons and armors. And yeah, all of this is true facts. Will not dispute that, absolutely. Like, when I bring up things like the relics, I just wonder sometimes how many new players only see my new relic guides, which, I mean, I am relatively new creator. I mean, I've been here for like a year, okay, whatever, but I'd still consider myself new. So it's like by the time I started making content, the Heavensward relic was the solved problem, a Realm Reborn relic was the solved problem, the Stormblood relics were a solved problem. And so it was like, yes, my only relic guides are on the newest of the new ones. But I wonder how many players know a Realm Reborn had a relic series. Heavensward had a relic series. Stormblood had its own relic series. Then I just wonder if, like, just people aren't being vocal enough. Like I said before, raids have been cleared at this point. It's like, even if you hit 80, literally at the very minute you hit this sentence of the video, you're still too late. We have come to the point where we're waiting for Endwalker. We are in a content lull right now until November. And really, I wonder if this push is just in reference to like certain content creators who are like pushing through the MSQ saying, oh, I'm gonna clear this, oh, I'm gonna clear that, oh, I'm gonna do this. And it really kind of shows this impression from like a bunch of different players where they're like, oh, I feel guilty about going to the Golden Saucer every day and enjoying the Make It Rain event. Or I'm guilty about like starting and getting an apartment and like just furnishing all day. Or I'm leveling my chocobo and dyeing it a certain color is a waste of time. Or glamours are a waste of time. Which I think is honestly totally depressing. Why feel guilty about having fun? I'm not trying to be silly here or like reverse Uno card anyone. I just don't get what the problem is. One of the things that 14 does that really does separate from other games in the genre is the diverse range of activities that you can take part in. Like when I went to World of Warcraft, I had Mythic Plus, Raid, or PvP. And I mean, people might like be like, oh, you could do like garrisons. I mean, technically kind of yes, but that was already like a dead system when I got on there, and the content was forced for whatever reason by the developers to basically be completely irrelevant, which is not something that 14 really does. It's like things like Gold Saucer and this are like constantly expanded, iterated upon activities. One thing that I do remember was during the Heavensward expansion that we hit Pepsiman, my static, and basically everything fell apart from there. I mean, the legend of the Pepsiman is very real in any veteran's memory. And basically it fell apart and I took a long break and then I came back to the game and then I basically rushed through the content as fast as I could. And I remember even I myself actively complained, why is MSQ tied to expert roulette? I want these extra tomestones. I mean, thankfully now I can go back and re-experience that, and like with the new Game Plus system, which is a relatively recent addition to the game. But fact of the matter is, I really did kind of burn myself on that because it's just like, oh, what did I go and really do at that time? Oh, I was farming the Heavensward relics. I mean, hindsight's 20/20, but looking back, it's like, okay, I could have literally just taken a few extra weeks or even a month or multiple months at this point, and I literally could have just enjoyed the content, taken it much slower, and it would have been fine. I would have still had all the relics. Wasn't any real reason to rush. I just want to end this by saying again, like, it is kind of crazy that 14 has recently had this huge surge of players. I cannot emphasize it enough, though, when I'm talking to people, is Endwalker comes out in November. We really do have a long time until we're getting brand new raids, brand new extreme trials, brand new mounts, brand new jaws, brand new zones, brand new beast tribes. All of this is coming, but we have a little bit of time until it. And I want to also say something, is there's an intense irony that many 14 players were actually ramping down in playing and streaming and making content, especially due to this content lull, or almost exclusively because of the content lull. You were seeing 14 streamers dive into different Final Fantasy games. Oh, this different Final Fantasy. Oh, that other game. You saw them completely quit streaming some of them. So it's very weird as someone who, I don't know, it's just weird to see how everyone has adapted. And then you see some creators be like, oh yeah, I'm back on 14 and all this, and I'm like, oh, you just said that you quit because of the content lull. I don't know. But I think that a large a portion of us weren't really expecting or ready for this. It's like, for me personally, I have been working on my website in the background. I have been working on getting my own stream set up, and I was just gonna be purely on 14. But so much for that idea, right? Just taking it easy, just doing the website, just gonna casually stream to probably like 2 viewers if I'm lucky. The baby was thrown out with the bathwater on that one. The point is, if you really need to push to endgame, do it. Otherwise, I can honestly say you'll hit a wall that isn't moving forward till November, and I'm not sure what you're rushing to.